So the first news story I was going to talk about is the case for Bitcoin price manipulation. So there was this user on Medium called SuperCrypto1 who had written this article, which was actually an old one. It was like a month old, this article. And they talked about, it was called The Fourth Dimension, Bitcoin Manipulation, the Cartel Must Be Burnt. Something like that. That's what the URL is anyway. I can't actually tell you what the actual title was, which is the reason I'm mentioning this, is I read it, this article made the rounds, right? But it had a date on it, something like the 4th of February or the 2nd of February. So it wasn't like burning news, but a lot of people have been commenting on it recently, which is it's made the rounds. You know, Mr. Crypto's talked about it, Superman's talked about it. I've been discussing it with my patrons and so on, but it's an old article, right? So why didn't it blow up at the time? Don't really know. Anyway, what that did say, this article in its opening was, it said, don't be surprised if this article is taken down. Would you believe it? Now, suspend judgment on this one. I just tried to open the URL and it says this page is unavailable, and the URL on Medium, it automatically redirects you to medium.com/suspended. And then it says this page is unavailable. So just as the author said, they said, watch out, this article might be removed forcibly any minute now. Well, it lasted at least a month. And also I'm wondering, like, is this a double cross? You know what I mean? Because I don't know who this person is. They're not a public figure as far as I know. So it could have been one of those things where this could be a psychological warfare, meaning whoever wrote the article could be a double cross. So they might have staged it, right? The whole thing about watch out, the article might be banned thingy. Well, and then they may have had the perception of it being banned, if you know what I mean, just to try and manipulate the perception in the market. There is just no way to know. Anyway, down to the actual content of the article itself, the bottom line was, do we believe the Bitcoin price is being manipulated? Well, there is no question, there is no doubt at all that the Bitcoin is being attacked via the market mechanism. We would be naive to believe that that wasn't happening to some degree, right? But it doesn't really matter, because as long as you accept that, the markets are still going to go in cycles. We're still going to get massive booms and massive busts. So that's just the way it is. Asking the question, how do we protect against it, or how do we prevent it, is just the wrong question. That's just going to happen, right? So you don't try and change the way it is, you just change your response to it. So you go, okay then, if this is going to happen again, say we're going to boom up to a $100,000 Bitcoin and then crash down to a $20,000 Bitcoin, as long as we know that, we don't try and change the way it is, we just say, right, this is going to be my strategy. When it gets to $80,000, $90,000 Bitcoin, I'm going to sell half my Bitcoin, and I'm going to wait for it to crash again, which it inevitably will, right? So that would be the kind of framework for a strategy, right? Don't try and change the way it is, just set a strategy so that when it does happen, or if this happens and if that happens, you know what to do. It's kind of like how a smart contract works, right? I define a smart contract as a legal document that can make its own decisions. So it has a certain set of criteria. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do this, right? If Chris sends Ether from his address to our contract address, send back X number of tokens to the address that he sent from, right? So it's all that. And if he sends too little gas or this or that, respond. And we need a similar sort of thing. We need to decide on our action before it happens, not when it happens. And the reason that's so important is because if we wait, if we remain indecisive and say, I'll just wait and see, when serious market moves happen, immediately the old limbic brain takes over, the emotional brain, rational brain disappears, and then you just react from the emotional brain, which isn't that rational, right? Which is why we have the cerebral cortex for that rational thought. So you have to do your rational thinking ahead of time so that when that limbic brain lights up and goes, oh my God, to the moon, right? You go, whoa, 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 right? It's at $80,000, whatever, I need to sell some of it, right? Even if it's 10% of it, even if it's 50% of it, whatever it happens to be, right? Just make sure you know what action to take. And then you say, right, well, the maximum loss I'm willing to incur is 50%, so that if your portfolio says your Bitcoin is now minus 50%, well, you know that's the time you've already decided to sell, right? I don't do those kinds of things myself. In this particular market, bear market, I've just held on to all of my existing cryptos, and I've actually just been, you know, as it's been going down, gradually feeding my, like I say, my the fattening my purse money, which I call it. That's a phrase from, again, richest man in Babylon, right? It's a part of all I earn is mine to keep. So because it's from ancient Babylon, they use like gold coins, and they call it the fattening of thy purse. So you used to carry a purse full of gold coins around your waist, and if you had a lean purse, you know, like one with no coins in it, no good. But if you had a fat purse full of coins, as you walk, you could feel, you know, it swinging and hitting against your leg because it was full of gold coins. So the fattening of your purse is the first rule of wealth, which is a part of all I earn is mine to keep. So take 10% of your earnings, set it aside for investments and for your future wealth. So that's the money that I've been using from my just regular monthly income that I've been then splitting into like weekly amounts and then feeding it into my favorite coins that I believe have the strongest fundamentals. So, and that's going to be the same, right? The market cycles are going to continue. So we don't necessarily need to endlessly debate whether the Bitcoin price is being manipulated or not. Probably is the answer, right? But whether it is or whether it isn't, what trumps that is what I've just said about having a strategy and deciding what you're going to do and how you're going to react based on certain circumstances before those circumstances arise. So anyway, I will post the link to this Medium article, the original link, in the show notes for this episode, so you can see for yourself what this page looks like, where it says Medium has, you know, it says suspended and this page is no longer available. And then you just have to come to your own conclusions whether this person has staged it and it's a kind of a double cross, or whether it has actually been somehow banned by who? I don't know. Medium. It was a perfectly reasonable article. It was detailed and well reasoned, so it was a plausible argument. So yeah, how it's been banned, I have no idea, but let the speculation about that begin.